Hi guys, thanks for watching. All right, sorry I just had to share the link on Twitter and all the various social media that are out there. First thing I'm going to do is put some radar on this guy. Thing I picked up off Amazon, just allows you to do circles and whatnot. Because you don't want to do it with a compass, and anytime I try and do it with anything else, it doesn't work. I like to be able to see it. I'd love to get one of those. I've seen like a video ad for them. They're super fancy, like it's a wooden ring with metal. Is it Oculus? No, what's the word for it? Aperture, like an automatic aperture that opens and closes according to how you rotate it. But they're always like $100, and I'm just like, nah, not worth it. So I'm gonna pick. Let's see. Then I'll go around. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Yep. Mm-hmm. And 3 ought to do it. There we go. All right, with that out of the way, we can start inking. I'm going to be using my usual, the aPentel brush pen. I think I'm also going to plug in my phone so it doesn't go bad. And what time is it? Because I got to pick up my boy. I got time. I'm going to try and get 2 of these things done. So I've got Daredevil here, and then I've got Elektra also ready to go. And it seems like you guys can see it. I'm trying to also view it on my own computer. Okay, now it's going through. Sometimes I never know if everything's working. Yeah, there's a lot of technology going on here to make this kind of stuff possible. Yeah, I really do. I love YouTube, both as a producer and a consumer. You know, like anytime I need to learn how to fix something in my house, it's just super convenient to look online, and there's usually somebody who's done it before and is happy to share. So you can see, you know, the pencil drawing I do is fairly rough, but everything's there. It's when I'm inking, I'm just kind of deciding like where the blacks go, like what connects to what do I want to accentuate. And for this one, you know, he's going to be a happier version. So I usually don't put a black top lid, but for this one I will, because I want him to look a little happier. Like, so I'll show you. Like usually I go to there, like about the middle of the eye, and then I cut down like this to make him look angry. And then usually there's a trail up here, but I specifically want him to look a little more carefree. Whenever I'm in this stage, my Daredevil, I always feel like he should be called Raccoon Man. Kind of has that look about him. But eventually he looks like Daredevil. Yeah, so a lot of inking with Daredevil is just kind of deciding like how these shadows are going to work, because it's not, you know, it's comic book lighting. It's not real, but it is effective. So with each, you know, with each stroke, you're kind of deciding what you want to accentuate, what works, what doesn't. You know, and the drawing doesn't change, but you can definitely make or break the image with inking. And, you know, a lot of this stuff I'm deciding on the fly. You know, I have a basic go-to pattern when I'm doing Daredevil. You know, forehead, same as Batman. Forehead's basically black, and then sometimes I'll do a line in the middle to kind of break up that big shape. And then depending on if he's angry or not, you can accentuate the eyebrows and make his brows more furrowed or less furrowed. Kind of up to you. Let's see. Greetings from Mexico. Hello, Roberto. Why would you prefer acrylic gouache over traditional gouache? I actually prefer regular gouache. I use acrylic gouache when I'm doing things that need to be waterproof. So I always have a full set of this stuff, but I don't use it for everything. Can't get it to focus there. Anyway, I use this stuff a lot for, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I'll do a full-on gouache painting, and then at the very end, I'll have like a couple key strokes that need to be almost three-dimensional and very opaque, and you know, basically, I want the stroke to be visible, and I want it to be, you know, I want to accentuate it. You know, like the stroke is as much about the subject matter as it is about itself. Like I want you to notice it. So whenever I want you to notice something, I'll usually do it in acrylic gouache. Now you can do that in regular gouache. It's just that they're not as permanent. And if you paint over it again, the gouache will actually reactivate, because gouache never actually really dries. Now, what I should say about it is that when I do use it, the way I paint with gouache is actually fairly thin. So it can't reactivate the way that most people think, just because it's essentially staining the paper. It becomes a part of the paper, and so there's no getting it back. It's just the way I paint. It's kind of because I started out, you know, using the Alex Ross technique. Although I think now, I actually think he works differently than I thought. I don't know this for sure. I haven't talked to him about it, but I think he does the underpainting in gouache, and then he goes on top of that with watercolor. And I actually did that for this one. This is the print comic, but it just, you know, you can see, you can get a pretty good effect. This thing can't, I'm in too close, you can't see it. But all of this, and I posted this whole thing. This is drawn by Joe Quinones, and I painted it. I have a whole YouTube video, like I think it's 20 minutes long, where I go through the whole process of this. So if you're interested in that whole process, I've got it here. I use regular gouache, traditional gouache. I use acrylic gouache, and I use watercolor, basically everything. In fact, like there's not a lot of techniques that I don't use in this particular painting. So it's a good overview of just like every technique that I use that's not like cartoons and stuff. So yeah, if you have any questions, check that out. Yeah, so I hope that works. What is the circular ruler tool called? I don't know. It's like something safety compass. Let me look real quick. Amazon. I got it off Amazon. I'm searching my orders. I'm going to look up compass, and the answer is not there. Great. Try a search for circle. Here we go. It's called the Helix Angle and Circle Maker. Yeah, so if you just look up Circle Maker on Amazon, it'll have it. It's 6 inches in diameter, and it's not perfect, but it gets the job done. You know, the reason I say it's not perfect is there's a little bit of wiggle between the blue and the clear part, so it's not super precise. But if all you need is just to be able to see through it and put a circle around something, it's perfect, and it's super cheap. It's like $7, $8. Yeah, so it's good. All right, so let's make a little more progress before I answer more questions. I got some cheeky cheeks. If I have time, I will do some marker over this as well, but I may not. We'll see. But I think what I'll do is I'll finish inking this, and then I'll ink Elektra, and then if there's time, then I will color them both in. These ones, these are not like fully colored, they're like spot color, so it's usually like a bright red, and the rest is like gray. Come up with some, random ass tendons in his neck. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't really matter. You can kind of go nuts on that stuff. If you just look confident, it'll pass. Don't tell anyone I said that. You only have to know anatomy up to a point. In fact, I've definitely seen artists where like they know too much anatomy. I'm always like, I don't know. It's fine. I used to get super into it. Now I just am not as much into it. I do need a refresher course because it's been a while. I'm almost like too loosey-goosey now. All right. Let's see. How do I usually do that? I want to figure out what his mask looks like before I switch to the unmasked part. Yeah, so you just kind of, you put in more and more black until, and like you're drawing with white and black at the same time, and you're kind of trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what might work. And you never know what you're gonna get. I have like, I've wanted at times, when I was drawing it, I did have kind of my go-to, because you have to kind of codify it just in the name of speed. So I think I did like 3 white lines for the furrows in his brows, but then you have to be able to change according to if the script calls for it. Yeah. So as you can see, I ended up like really blacking out most of the stuff in here, and that's usually what I do with Daredevil anyway. All right, maybe put that in there. I'm not going to bother with this because things can get really complicated, especially because I don't know how this is going to end, and I don't want to draw the double Ds. just going to go out with that. Strengthen some of those lines. Kind of connect things where I have a little bit more confidence now. Okay, and now I'll switch to 0.2 millimeter Copic multiliner, 0.3, and add in some dirt, some grime. He was just in a big fight, but he's feeling good about himself. Maybe just a touch of stubble. Stubble's really great for if you want to draw a line or define a form, but you don't want to go too heavy on it. You can really almost use it like cross hatching to draw around the form. All right, sound good. Let's see, any questions? All messages are visible. How often do I stream? God, just look back. YouTube tries to make me do it more often. It's been a while. So no. Sorry, I gotta look back on some of the acrylic makes the lines pop. Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Every painting is different. This one's not gonna have any acrylic on it at all. So no black wash for the shade. No. So this is on printed. It's on a print. So it's printed paper. And it's very thin, and that's why I use the alcohol markers so it doesn't make the paper buckle. If I were doing this on my own, it would have. I usually use Strathmore mixed media board, or well, they're mostly Strathmore illustration board. Anything that is cotton based. These ones are not cotton based, which is my preference usually when I'm doing paint. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because or not zoom out, but move my camera out just a tad so it can have an easier time focusing. Oh, thanks, Christian. Thanks for getting on it. All right, so that's done. We're going to let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll bring on Elektra. And I should mention I don't have these up in the shop yet, but I just got these in. It's Batman '89, the hardcover, work by Sam Hamm, Joe Quinones, and Leonardo Ito. And yeah, and also my dad did a couple pages in here, maybe more than a couple. I did a couple pages, and my dad did more, but I'm not sure which ones. But it's a great book. And then this one is by Robert Venditti, Wilfredo Torres, and Jordi Belair. And this one was another collaboration between me and Joe Quinones. He penciled it, I painted it, and it's on the cover. We weren't really involved with this project and I didn't think this cover was going to be used for it, but apparently it was. So yeah, they sent me some copies, which I will be selling in my store once I put them up, and I might offer like some head sketches in them or something. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have. All right, on to the next one. This is going to be Elektra. Guess I can put that there. Is that focused? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Same thing as before. This one's just going to have a lot more inking. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Christian. Although I think there might still be one spot left from the 12 o'clock today, at least in the comics animation version. I split it up just to make things easier for myself, which I am all about. But yeah, these have been going well so far. As I mentioned on Instagram earlier today, for this round, most people got the smaller prints, which are cheaper, but I prefer because just physically they're just easier to put on my board, and the whole process is just a lot easier. Some people still did get the big ones, but like my space is custom made for like exactly what I do, but it's not built for like working on giant stuff. I probably should, but whatever. Actually, what I should do, whatever. I'll think about that later. Lots of stuff to do. Concentrate on the big stuff right now. I've been talking to myself a lot lately, and I guess this counts too, but I don't know why. It's helping me think through things. Because I'm really trying to decide what to do career-wise, I guess, with my time next. Because, I don't feel like anything's holding me back right now. So I feel like now is a really good opportunity for me to take stock. I have my dream job. Like, there's no argument there. But I kind of need to make like a 5-year plan. Because I've spent the last 5 years really like concentrating on, wiping my kids' butts. And, now that is almost to a close, I do want to concentrate on some other things and just think a little bit bigger, because there's like nothing, knock on wood, holding me back at the moment. Only myself. And so I kind of want to stop making excuses for myself and just really do all the things that I've been meaning to do. And they're not all huge projects. Some of them are small projects that I've just, they like haven't even been on the back burner. Like they've been on no burner at all, just back of my mind for years. And, nothing big, just some of it's really stupid. Some of it's incredibly stupid, but I still want to do it. I was actually talking about that recently with my good friend Arki Kuro Johnson. We're just kind of like, I guess, analyzing my own work, because it is defined kind of by others. I'm always working with a writer, and for a company, and it's very rare that I do something completely for myself. But that being said, if I do have a shtick, it's that I really like taking dumb jokes and elevating them. Um, Even like going back to my very, very first Marvel cover, it was like Iron Man. Like I just had a little plug in there where he like charges the suit. It's really, really dumb stuff, but it's on this like painting that I just I lovingly painted every brush stroke. Um, I guess that's kind of been my thing from the beginning, and I think it came up because we were talking about like shirtless bear fighter, which again, that's not my idea, but it was something that like really spoke to me. It's like there, now that's a really dumb idea that I could paint the hell out of. Um, I guess that's just my brain how it works. Um, you know, I've received nothing but support my entire life for this, both from my parents and other people. But at the same time, that there is like this undercurrent of like, having a skill like this, an old school skill, and then how different people would use that. And the answer is they wouldn't do what was doing. Um, and again, like I said, I received nothing but just the most generous support from everyone within my life and without, like just even random strangers. Like everyone has been nothing but supportive. But I'm just saying, like it is. I like dumb stuff, and just because it's dumb doesn't mean that I don't think it's important. There, how's that for your philosophical discussion today? Let's see. Create your own. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm thinking about. I think what I'm going to do is some small projects first, and then we'll see how it goes. I like maybe like 4 years ago, my my thought was, I basically wanted to take my own advice because people, students and whatnot will ask me what to do, and my one big kind of general, blanket piece of advice when it specifically comes to comics is to start small. And I mean this applies to not just comics, but it's usually it's why people would be talking to me in the first place. And so if they say like I want to do a painted comic, this is what I should have done. I should have listened to my own advice. But if you want to do a painted comic, do a regular comic first, because you will find that it's so difficult and so hard and so time consuming that just to produce a regular, cartoon comic, just the whatever your conception of is of a easy style, even doing that is incredibly difficult and time consuming. So I always suggest that you do that first. And if you haven't killed yourself or developed some kind of debilitating hand or back problem, um, then then you may attempt to do a painted comic. Because I think at the time I used to say, like, there's maybe 5 people on Earth who make painted comics, and at the time I was one of them, but since then I have dropped out. So I think there are 4 now, and then it's how many are doing it regularly, and that answer is it's even smaller. Basically there's Alex Ross, and even he is not doing fully painted stuff anymore, at least for comics. He'll do, he still does 50 billion covers a month. I wish I could do that, but anyway. So yeah, the creator owned. That's how I got on this tangent. It's still in the back of my mind, but my deal with myself back then was you have to write your own 8-page comic, and then you have to write your own full comic, which could be either 20 to 30 pages, basically. And then once I do that, basically, I'm just trying to build my confidence. Like, the way that I build my confidence with drawings is I do a few warm-up sketches. And to think, so I wrote a whole script, like, for a 200-page graphic novel. And I won't say that I hate it. I still like aspects of it. And the story hasn't changed much, but the narrative needs to change. Like, I guess I should say I'm happy with the plot. I'm happy with what happens, but I need to change the way that it's told. Just to simply make it better. And the way I usually describe it is writer Paulo needs to be up to snuff to work with artist Paulo. Because I have certain standards as an artist that I want to keep, and part of those standards doesn't have a lot to do with me. It's just I want to work with writers that I admire, and I have been incredibly lucky when it comes to that. I've only worked with amazing writers my entire career, which is, again, unheard of, and honestly sort of out of my control. A lot of it was just dumb young luck. But now that I do have a little more control over what I do, I just have to make sure that all that stuff is worth my time. So yeah, we'll see. Still on my list of things to do, but it's a very long list, and I want to accomplish some smaller projects before that. Yeah, but I was just working on it just the other night. The main character of it's like a sci-fi novel, and I've been kind of every once in a while working on the design of the main character. She's like I don't know how to describe her. She's like a walking furnace. She's a walking, like, nuclear reactor, and that comes with certain challenges. The main one being that she's very heavy, and so like the design needs to reflect that. Like, just her standing there, she needs to look massive and sort of awkward. And I feel like I had a pretty good breakthrough the other night when I was working on it. I've honed it down to the color scheme that I like, but I haven't. There's still some question as to what her hands are going to look like, because she's a robot. So as far as that goes, it's almost like anything goes, which is both good and bad. It's sort of starting to look like a Tula drawing. I don't know if you guys follow her on Twitter. I retweeted some of her stuff earlier today. And sometimes I'll do things without. I'll copy something without meaning to. So I was just looking at some of her artwork today. Let's see. All right, some questions. Thanks. Glad you like Elektra. Vision was all you, but for Marvel. Yes, yeah. So that was kind of like, that was my goal. This was back in 2020. The goal was to do an 8-pager, and I did it. And I don't hate it. So that's a win. But now I feel like I need to do a full comic. And actually, the thing I thought about is like maybe I could just do like a vignette story, like including the characters that I want, but not like this massive epic thing that I have in mind for like the main story, because they do other things in their lives, these characters. So maybe I'll just do like a little smaller adventure or something. How about a little course how to paint online or DVD? The thing is, like, I've already done all that. Like, it's on YouTube. Like, if you look through my video list, not like the live streams like this, but like the ones I edit, like it's a pretty good. It's not like taking a class, but basically all I have to say, all I have to impart on other people, like it's there. And there's already so many out there. Like, and that's the other thing is like I've been asked to participate in numerous classes of all kinds. Most recently, there was one that was even like it was even Marvel. Marvel was involved in it, and usually I just don't have the time. I don't know. I've thought about it. Like, and there are also there's certain people I correspond with just via email. Like they'll just just have a random question. I'm always happy to answer those. Yeah, what I should do, well, I've been saying this for a while, but what I should just do is collect some of the emails I've written over the years to people who had questions, because just collecting those would be enough for a few blog posts. I even have some of those are even in like draft form on my blog. Because those are always good, because it's only with people who are super committed to what they're doing anyway, and they're reaching out, and it's usually people like I have a lot of standard answers as it's going to happen, but there's some people I've had a relationship with over the years, because I'll have a question here, a question there, and then it turns into 10 years, and it's really cool to see people kind of progress and get new questions. What do I think about when I render her hair? It's tough. Who you should look at is either John Buscema or Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Like those two guys. Like that's what I'm pulling from and specifically I should say when I do black hair or darker hair. It's this kind of push and pull between form and outline and light and reflection, and also graphic design, like that kind of thing. So it's all these things wrapped up, and there's no hard and fast rule, because that's the fun of it. Like hair, it can go anywhere, it really can, and so you can just play around with it and just see what looks good. But the basics. Get some scrap paper. It's like it's just this. over and over, and then you learn to make the lines kind of line up. The other thing is, I think James Gurney talked about it on one blog post on gurneyjourney.blogspot.com. He was talking about, I don't know if, I mean, he mentioned J.C. Leyendecker, but I can't remember if he came up with the term or Leyendecker did, or if it was somebody else. So basically turning hair into a ribbon. So if this is your hair, now I don't do this that explicitly, but it is in the back of my mind. So if this is ribbon, then it goes like that, and then it goes like that, and then it goes like that. Now I don't draw it out like this, but I'm often thinking about where the hair is going in 3 dimensions, and then doing the light accordingly. Now this one you could push it back by going all black, or you could leave a little highlight there, because if you're using like the actual rules of reflection, you would get a highlight right in the middle there, because it's a concave curve, and over here it's convex. So, but then you can do little things like that's the other thing is if you're doing it, leave room to don't paint yourself in a corner. So by not connecting all the lines, it allows you to go back in and find connections that you maybe did not think of from the beginning. I guess this is turning into a tutorial. So then, where does the light? Well, it's not going to be light on the edges unless it's rim lighting. And so I'm going to put it here. And then this looks like the high point, so that's going to be, you basically paint around the high point. And you might it might break apart the strand here. And you can always go back with, whiteout. And I actually use acrylic wash as whiteout for my inks. So does my dad. But hopefully this can show you, you're basically, it's about drawing, and drawing is about finding the 3D in the 2D. So, it's a process of discovery. And then, once you got the main ribbon, then you can break out from it and put in some other stuff. And as you can see, like, I didn't draw this out. I'm just kind of following the flow where it goes. If that makes any sense. And the late Jesse Ham, he had a really good, he talked about it. No, this is one of those things, this is why he was so good, is because it's something that like we were all doing, but he like was able to spot it and codify it, where to really make hair sing, if you look at a real picture of someone's hair at the ends, it's going like, even when it's combed, it's kind of going like all different directions like that. All right. But to make it look like a good drawing, you kind of want to bring them together as a big ribbon like that. But you still want some of this crazy energy. And so what you do is you have the individual strands come out, but you have them go in the same direction. And so you can have overlap, but have them go like here to here. And then maybe you have one pop out there. And you're always updating, you're learning as you go. You're updating the model to figure out kind of what works and what doesn't. Because there will always be one where like you'll have a missed stroke or a missed opportunity or anything like that. But this basic thing right here, that's really where it's at. I don't remember what he called it, but he had a good term for it. So yeah, that's a little mini tutorial, how to draw hair. All right, now where were we? Oh, all right, guys, you got me for 2 more minutes. I got to go pick up my son. So if you have any last questions, now is the time. Do I want to? I think I'm going to leave this. I'll leave the highlight up by her cheek so that I don't lose this line. If that makes sense. And then I'll turn that into a deep shadow. And then that. And I don't know if yeah, I think I'll lose the chin. Obviously, I'll keep the chin, but I'll lose the line and just have it be solid shadow because I need to control that chin. My problem with Elektra is I always just make her look like me. And I know that's not what people want. I make a fine Wolverine, but I'm not the most attractive Elektra. I'm certainly no Jennifer Garner. I don't know what to think about that film, but like the new one. But I can assure you one thing: I will go see it. Yeah, I do enjoy seeing really the yellow spandex. I do wish it were more gold, but that's always been me. I don't like the bright yellow. Even for classic X-Men, like when I do the costumes that are supposed to be yellow, I make them like just a couple degrees towards red. Yeah, I don't like 60-degree yellow. I like 55. 30 degrees is orange. You know, so you got 0 degrees is red, 30 degrees is orange, and 60 degrees is yellow. And by the time you get to 90, you're already at green. And that's basically what I'm trying to avoid, is getting to green. All right, enough. Any last questions? I'll go through real quick. Did I see the new Godzilla teaser? No, I did not. I should do Proco. Yeah, they talked to me. I did not have time. Sorry. That's what I mean. Like people have asked, and I've just always said no. I simply didn't have the time. What does this button mean? Oh, okay. I think that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once I get this done, I will post it on Twitter, maybe Instagram too, all the finished ones. I think there might be, well, it looks like some orders did come in while I was on here. So maybe I'm sold out. But everyone who has subscribed to my newsletter, you know when the next one is coming up. And so I will hopefully see you then. Other than that, I will see you guys on other social media, and I will try to do more YouTube so that they'll reinstate my whatever creator. I have a creator studio, but it's like whatever. They're always changing the rules. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll post these when I'm done. Have a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye.